Coming up tonight, bipartisan lawmakers weigh in on Tucker Carlson's portrayal of January 6th. The disapproval coming from both sides of the aisle. And Russian shelling of the abandoned Bakhmut region of Ukraine. How both sides found time to exchange POWs.
Then the U.S. tops 100 mass shooting record in record time. The facts behind this this startling state, plus a look at your Plattsburgh weather, entertainment, and sports tonight on PS News. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Benedott.
And I'm Josh McLean. Our top story tonight. Some Republican leaders in Congress are voicing their disdain with Fox News host Tucker Carlson. They spoke out on Tuesday after Carlson aired security video from the January 6 attacks on his show Monday. While showing the video, Carlson characterized what happened at the U.S. Capitol as a mostly peaceful protest. There was swift reaction on Capitol Hill. Some GOP members say what Carlson is peddling is a bunch of lies. CNN's Sarah Murray has more.
To whitewash the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol, even some Republicans are setting the record straight.
And I think it was, it was an attack on the Capitol.
I think that breaking through glass, windows, and doors to get into the United States Capitol against the orders of police is a crime. To somehow put that in the same category as a permitted peaceful protest is just a lie.
I think it's
Fox host Tucker Carlson using curated clips of the Capitol attack to falsely claim there was no violent insurrection.
These were not insurrectionists, they were sightseers.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy gave Carlson exclusive access to thousands of hours of video from January 6th.
Speaker McCarthy is every bit as culpable as Mr. Carlson.
As U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger tore into Carlson's program for its, quote, offensive and misleading conclusion. The program conveniently cherry-picked from the calmer moments of our 41,000 hours of video, Manger wrote in an internal memo. The commentary fails to provide context about the chaos and violence that happened before or during these less tense moments.
It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
The chief also defending fallen officer Brian Sicknick, who was attacked with chemical spray and physically fought members of the mob after Carlson questioned links between his death and the insurrection.
Here is surveillance footage of Sicknick walking in the Capitol.
A day after the Capitol attack, Sicknick died from a series of strokes. The medical examiner said he died of natural causes, but all that transpired on January 6 played a role in his condition. Sicknick's family slammed Fox in a statement, saying every time the pain of that day seems to have ebbed a bit, organizations like Fox rip our wounds wide open again, and we are frankly sick of it. Another Carlson claim that the QAnon shaman walked through the Capitol without pushback from police. But in court, where Jacob Chansley pleaded guilty, prosecutors say officers repeatedly tried to get him and others to leave. But officers felt outnumbered on January 6th and wary of confronting them. This as the Justice Department still works to hold rioters to account for the attack that day.
We have charged more than 1,000 people with their crimes on that day, and more than 500 have already been convicted. I think it's very clear what happened on January 6th.
Former president and current presidential candidate Donald Trump proclaimed, "Let the January 6 prisoners go," and offered his thanks to Carlson and McCarthy.
There were plenty of other Republicans who welcomed Fox News' efforts to rewrite history. House Republicans tweeted Carlson's video from last night, calling it a must-watch.
A trove of text messages, emails, and other material from Fox News executives and on-air personalities were made public Tuesday. It's evidence in the $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit by Dominion Voting systems against the right-wing channel. It includes repeated statements from Fox Corporation Chairman Robert Mordich rejecting conspiracy theories about domination that his own network promoted after the 2020 election. And internal Fox News emails and messages further show how Fox News staff privately dismissed some of the election conspiracies that were prompted on air. Dominant claims during the 2020 presidential election, Fox News recklessly disregarded the truth and pushed pro-Trump conspiracy theories about the election technology company because the lies were good for business for Fox. Fox News on Tuesday associated Dominion for distortion, misinformation, and misattribution quotes as part of an attempt to smear Fox News and trample free speech and freedom of the press. Dominion on Tuesday said the emails, texts, and testimony speak for themselves, and they welcome all accuracy of their evidence. Dominion says it all leads to the same place, that Fox knowledgeably spreads lies, causing enormous damage to their voting machine company.
For the first time in 8 months, the Russians are on the cusp of taking a Ukrainian city, albeit a small one already abandoned by more than 90% of its pre-war population. Ukrainian defenses in and around the eastern city of Bakhmut are being squeezed by a combination of intense artillery, mortar fire, airstrikes, and a substantial commitment of ground forces, both Russian regulars and fighters of the Wagner private military company.
Ukrainian and Russians have exchanged prisoners of war in another swap announced by both sides on Tuesday. Moscow said it had been able to return 90 servicemen from territory controlled by Kiev. Meanwhile, Ukraine said it had been able to bring back 130 of its soldiers from Russian captivity. Russian Mercenary of Defense also said the soldiers it was able to exchange were in, quote, mortal danger, and said they'd be flown to Moscow for treatment. As a result of the negotiation process, 90 Russian servicemen who were in mortal danger have been returned from the territory controlled by Kiev region. It said in a statement on Tuesday, airplanes of military transport, devotion of the Russian aerospace forces will transport the released servicemen to Moscow for treatment and rehabilitation at medical industries of the Russian Defense Ministry. All those released have been of the necessary medical and physical assistance needed.
North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik was highly critical of her colleagues across the aisle and President Biden this morning. The criticism comes from the Congresswoman's dissatisfaction with the Democrats' crime policies in the nation's capital.
House Republicans' resolution from Andrew Clyde to restore law and order in our nation's capital and repeal D.C. Democrats' City Council soft on crime and pro-carjacking bill. Those are the words of Joe Biden. And we look forward to it becoming law after Joe Biden publicly whipped against it and then changed his stance and said he would sign it.
The Justice Department said Wednesday it will conduct a review of the Memphis, Tennessee Police Department in a wake of deadly police beatings of Tara Nicholas. The city's mayor and police chief requested the review. It will focus on how the department handles all use of force, de-escalation, and specialized units. Meanwhile, the planned release of hours more footage in Nicholas's beating death has been delayed by court order. The order has a response to a motion filed by an attorney from one of the former officers charged. A hearing on the issue was set for Wednesday afternoon. This comes days after officials revealed a seventh officer had been fired, and others left the force or were suspended after the brutal encounter. Previously, authorities said 6 officers were fired, and 5 of them criminally charged. Officials were also preparing to release records from the city's internal probe into 13 police officers and 4 fire department officials.
Some pilots are expressing frustration with the Federal Aviation Administration. The spokesman for the Allied Pilots Association says the FAA needs to do their job to address major safety concerns. There have been 6 recent near collisions of aircraft, and he says the responsibility lies with the FAA.
It's a system under stress. The FAA sees it. The FAA administrator said, I need data, and let's have a meeting, a safety summit. The data is right behind me. It's happening out there. These incidents, things that we've been talking about well over a year ago, are starting to show up on the flight deck and in operations.
The spokesman criticized some of the FAA's current regulations, including safety and rest rules for cargo, executive, and commercial aircraft. He also took aim at the airlines, which he says are scheduling pilots to the maximums and reducing pilot training. Plus, he said the carriers are trying to do too much with too little, despite posting record revenue. Opioid overdose.
Opioid overdose.
The drug overdose crisis across the country.
Fentanyl overdoses cause the equivalent of a new September 11th every 2 weeks.
Provisional data from the CDC revealing more than 2/3 of all overdose deaths are linked to synthetic opioids like fentanyl, leaving almost no community untouched.
It hurts every day.
It was something I had heard of, but not something I would have ever thought would have killed our child, ever.
While the federal government has declared the opioid crisis a public health emergency, there's a new push to target fentanyl and similar substances that are exacerbating the epidemic, including a proposed bill aimed at labeling Mexican drug cartels foreign terrorist organizations.
This problem is a national security threat. Fentanyl is a killer, and the people killing Americans reside out in the open in Mexico.
But some who have lost loved ones are taking matters into their own hands.
When my son died, I had never heard of fentanyl before.
Jaime Puerta lost his son Daniel to fentanyl poisoning in April 2020. He claims Daniel bought a fake pill from a dealer on Snapchat. Through his nonprofit called Void, Victims of Illicit Drugs, Puerta is working to raise awareness and change the conversation.
We have to look at it as a poison and not a war on drugs, but a war on fentanyl.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
The National Transportation Safety Board announced Tuesday that it will investigate Norfolk Southern. The railway has come under fire from a handful of incidents, including 2 train derailments into Ohio, which happened just weeks apart. The NTSB says it will maximize the company's safety culture. The agency says the railroad has had 5 serious accidents since December 2021 that resulted in 3 deaths. While the government investigation will take some time, the NTSB requested that Norfolk Southern take immediate action to review and assess its safety practices. The government urges the company to get input from its employees and make any changes necessary to improve safety.
Gun violence remains an ongoing problem in the United States. A new report shows the country already has topped 100 mass shootings this year. A mass shooting is defined as when a gunman shoots at least 4 people. The website Gun Violence Archive keeps track of gun violence around the country. It says last year the United States did not surpass 100 mass shootings until March 19th. An independent global health research group says the U.S. has more deaths from gun violence than any other developed country. CNN conducted a poll last July that found 66% of Americans favor stricter gun laws.
After the break, a look at your Plattsburgh weather and entertainment news. Stay with us.
This is KINKS, which stands for Collectively Inspiring Natural Hair Students. We like to promote people to embrace their natural hair and just love who they are. Every spring semester we have a hair show, so if you're interested in modeling, hairstylist, and a makeup artist, this is something to look forward to every spring.
Nick Benardot.
I'm Angel Velasquez.
And I'm Benny Nazai.
I'm Jody Juliana Powell.
I'm Pat Pfeiffer.
Jorge Cabrera.
Jamie Goodrow.
And I'm Joe Mason.
I'm Marcel Gibbs.
I'm Zeb Ducharme.
I'm Ryan Nesta.
I'm Bruce Juno. Now Seals. Thank you. This has been Edward Balarjan.
I'm Rashida Pandey.
I'm Quasi Gittins.
I'm John Carduello.
To stay up to date with PS News and all of Plattsburgh State TV, be sure to follow Plattsburgh State TV on all social media platforms.
Welcome back. I'm your meteorologist, Marcel Gibbs, and here's a look at your Plattsburgh weather. Now we're seeing 20s, 30s across the board. We're seeing 25 for Owl's Head, 24 for Vermontville, 27 for Dannemora, 28 for Al Sable Forks. Seems like we're just going up, folks. 31 for Plattsburgh, 30 for St. Albans City, and 32 for Wilson. Now let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. Now we're seeing clouds, clouds, and clouds, and one bit of sun all throughout the week. We're seeing Thursday with the temperature 35 and some clouds, no sun in sight. 34 for Friday. Temperature goes down just by 1, but don't worry, it comes right back up on Saturday and clouds stay for all 2. On Sunday, we take a chance encounter and we see the sun finally with a temperature of 36. So temperature stays, and it stays on Monday as well, but we lose the sun and we get some rain. Now, I'm not sure about you, but this isn't really looking good for the start of my spring break. Maybe we have hope. I'm not looking forward to it. That's all I have for weather. Back to the desk with Josh and Nick.
Thanks, Marcel. Yeah, not looking great for that spring break, but hopefully the sun will return. Vegans rejoice. Hershey has unveiled 2 new plant-based candy options: vegan Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and a chocolate Hershey bar with almonds and sea salt. Both products will be made with oats instead of dairy and are designed to taste like chocolate. The Reese's Cups will be available nationally this month. The Hershey bar in April. Hershey is the latest company to offer vegan chocolate options in hopes of attracting more customers. Nestle unveiled its vegan Kit Kat V in 2021.
Wednesday is a day to celebrate the achievement of women and support actions against gender inequality. It's International Women's Day. You can make the day by taking a part in a march for women's equal rights, or participate in a related fundraiser, festival, lecture, or seminar, and post the hashtag International Women's Day. You can help celebrate. You can keep celebrating for the rest of the month, as it's also National Women's History Month. Now let's take a look at what's going on in entertainment with your PS Entertainment Update. Here's Cole.
Thank you very much, Nick. Now, Snoop Dogg is much more than just a rapper. Nearly 3 years ago, he teamed up with Australian wine brand 19 Crimes to produce a red wine called Snoop Cali Red. And now, he's expanding his line to include his first white wine. It is called Snoop Cali Blanc. It is available in stores now. This is Snoop's fourth wine he's helped produce. He says he's wanted to create a wine with a, quote, sexier, cleaner feel to it. And says there's nothing better than his Cali Blanc. Boy Meets World star Ben Savage is running for Congress. He made the announcement on Instagram Tuesday. The actor, running as a Democrat, is bidding for Representative Adam Schiff's congressional seat in 2024. In the post, the 42-year-old actor said he is running because, quote, it's time for new and passionate leaders who can help move our country forward. This isn't Savage's first time dabbling in politics. He ran for a seat on the West Hollywood City Council last year. Adam Schiff officially launched a Senate bid in January, vying to replace retiring Senator Dianne Feinstein. Moving forward, a dozen senators unveiled bipartisan legislation Tuesday that would expand President Joe Biden's authority to ban TikTok nationwide. No one likes TikTok anymore. What's going on? The video sharing app is under fire because of its Chinese ownership. This new measure is different from others in the past that have aimed to do the same thing. Instead of calling for a specific ban of TikTok, it gives the government new powers against any electronics or software linked to foreign entities. It puts the responsibility in the hands of the Commerce Department to determine if those entities are national security risks. Senators Mark Warner and John Thune say the bill would involve intelligence officials.
We've got to have our intelligence community be forward-leaning at being willing to declassify the information about why some of these technologies, foreign-based technologies, pose national security risks. So we're not just asking the public to trust us.
It is widely acknowledged that TikTok's a threat to our national security, which is why Congress took steps last year to ban the platform on government devices.
TikTok has continually asserted it has not turned user data over to the Chinese government and wouldn't if asked. The company says that data only exists on servers operated by U.S. tech company Oracle. TikTok is also negotiating with the Biden administration on things it can do to make sure it's allowed to continue operating in the U.S. During this National Disability Awareness Month, a movie starring actors with disabilities set for nationwide release. According to DisabilityScoop.com, Champions centers around a disgraced former minor league basketball coach played by Woody Harrelson. Harrelson is ordered to do community service in the form of coaching a Special Olympics team. All of the players on the Friends basketball team have disabilities and are portrayed by actors who have intellectual disabilities themselves. The makers of Champions said they wouldn't have had it any other way. The film brought in hundreds of actors with disabilities from across North America to try out for the parts. Madison Tevlin, Joshua Felder, Kevin Iannucci, Ashton Gunning, Matthew Von Der Ahi, Tom Sinclair, James Day Keith, Alex Hintz, Casey Metcalf, and Bradley Edens were selected for the roles. Many were first-time actors. Champions hits theaters nationwide March 10th. And it's so great to see such an amazing, opportunity for people with disabilities to get to be in the film industry and portray disabilities in the proper way and the most credible way. So that's all for entertainment tonight. I'm Cole Kajajian. Just ahead, a look at the wide world of sports with Jonah Baker-Flora. Stay with us.
Are you a criminal justice major? Do you like true crime? If so, SUNY Plattsburgh's Criminal Justice Club is the place for you. The club regularly plans outings and events, like a recent trip to the Clinton County Correctional Facility, and also brings in guest speakers. Criminal Justice Club meets every Tuesday in Meeting Room 4 in Red K Hall at 7 p.m. and is open to all majors. To stay up to date, follow at Plattsburgh CJ Club on Instagram. Hope to see you there.
Hard work, dedication, communication, just overall commitment to training and one another.
be probably something bigger than myself. Hard work and dedication. I wouldn't be where I am without Jack.
Going in every day, working hard, looking to improve. They're going to be good and bad days, but making sure you can overcome that.
Being there for your teammates.
Finding your limit and then wanting to do better than that.
Dedication. It means family.
Fun.
Dedication.
Welcome back to with your PS Sports Update. My name is Jonah Baker-Flora. The second-ranked and top-seeded Plattsburgh State women's hockey team captured its 5th straight Northeast Women's Hockey League and its 10th consecutive title conference overall, and dating back to the EAC West. The Cardinals shut out the second-seeded SUNY Cortland in 2-0 in the Newell Tournament Championship game. The victory of Plattsburgh State, extending its winning streak to 17, has earned a Newell automatic bid into the division of the NCAA Division III tournament. Graduate student forward Sarah Krosnick was named MVP in the tournament and was also joined by the all-tournament team by junior forward Kara, while senior defenseman Kendall Wezek and the defenseman Sierra Benjamin. Cardinals finished with a 31-16 edge, 4 shots, and it went for 1-4 on the power play. The Red Dragons were scoreless on 2 power play opportunities. Plattsburgh State rises to a 25-2-0 overall with the win, while Cortland falls to a 20-7-0 with the overall loss, and the Cardinals are set to face against the winner of Middlebury and Suffolk this Saturday at home. All right, the Plattsburgh State men's hockey team has won the SUNYAC, beating Oswego State on the road by a score of 2-1 on the 4th. Senior forward Adam Tedritz opened the scoring just under 2 minutes of regulation, and the game remained in defensive until defensive junior Carson Gallagher scored a 2-on-1 chance for an important insurance goal. Oswego scored under with a minute to cut the remaining deficit in half, but ultimately fell short. First-year Eli Schiller has turned away 26 shots, including the 14th in the third. This win marks Plattsburgh's 24th SUNYAC titles and first since 2017. I'm with your PS Sports Update. I'm Jonah Baker-Flora, and back with Josh and Nick in the desk.
Well, that's all the time we've got for this edition of PS News. Thank you for joining us.
To stay up to date, follow us at Plattsburgh State on social media. I'm Nick Benedett.
And I'm Josh McLean. As always, thank you for joining us, and have a great night, Plattsburgh.